Hello, K.Jolie Crochet Basics. And in this episode, we're going to make Bailey, a baby alive. We're going to make her a sweater. So this is for the standard baby alive, the not talking one, the regular hard body one. All right, so what you need for this one is an I hook, which is an I9. It's a 5.5 millimeter. You need an H hook, which is an H8 5 millimeter size hook. We're going in acrylic, size 4, worsted weight. Now with the acrylic yarn, they may be sized as a size 4 for the weight and stuff, but they're not all the same. Some are a little thicker, some are a little thinner. So keep that in mind when you go to make this. All right, and I'm using 4 buttons. 4 buttons is what I'm going to use for this, and I always go for these. These are the toggle buttons. They have a loop in the back. All right, so that's what I go for, and I always think they're easier, you know, when you have double layers of the yarn and stuff like that. Okay, what else? A yarn needle is great. A darning needle, a tapestry needle works really well because you can. It has a long eye and you can squeeze the yarn down. And a tape measure is always welcomed. A needle and thread for the buttons. And I think that's it as far as that's concerned. Maybe a few stitch markers when you're attaching the pieces. Okay. And this is there is sewing involved in this one. Okay. So just so you know up front. All right, so starting with the back panel, we're gonna chain. You're gonna do a slip knot, and you're gonna chain 21. You're gonna chain 21. So starting with a slip knot, you'll chain 21. And from here, we're going to switch to the H hook. So all of the starting chains for this, the sleeves, the front panels, all of the starting chains are worked in the I and then switched over to the H. All right, so from here, you'll skip over that first chain closest to the hook and you'll work down in a single crochet. I think my light is behind and not in front. Okay. I think that's better. All right, so you'll work down in a single crochet for row 1 on we're working the back panel first. So you should end up with 20 single crochets for row 1. So you'll chain 1 and turn your work. All right, so now you're going to pick up both sides of the braid for the rest of this, the back panel. So you're going to work up to row 25. So you're just going to work back and forth. You'll chain 1, you'll skip that first, and you'll go in through both sides of the braid. Both sides of the braid. And you'll work your single crochets. The whole back piece is single crochets. All right, so you'll just keep repeating. Really, row 2 is what you'll keep repeating until you get to row 25. So if you're working it along with me, you can pause it here until you have your back panel worked. And remember, tension matters. Tension and the size of the yarn matters when you're making this. Well, when you're crocheting anything, really, because the bigger the yarn or the bigger the hook, you know, the bigger the stitches are. So just to show you, this is what the back panel, it's just a square, a rectangle rather, just a rectangle. So when you're done, after row 25, you'll pull a tail for sewing. It doesn't have to be too long. You know, we're gonna, all of the pieces are sewn together with the yarn, okay? But just to give you, you should have around 5 1/4 to, you know, like around 5 1/2, a little over is good. And a little over 6 1/4, 6 1/4 to 6 1/2, around there. All right, when you're done with your back panel. Okay, so you'll work that. It's just back and forth to row 25. All right, so let's work the first front panel. Okay, so now for the first front panel, which I'll show you. Okay, so here's the first front panel. I'm going to work that up now. All right, so not too much on the shaping. Okay, so we'll work that up now. All right, so for the first front panel, which is the facing the piece, would be on the right side. Okay, so you're going to chain, you'll do a slip knot and you'll chain 14 in your eye hook. And you'll change over to your H. So you'll work back in a single crochet for 13 stitches. So now from here you'll chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to go in both sides of the braid. Okay, so on both sides of the braid you'll work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way down, chain 1, and turn your work. So we're going to work this, the 13 stitches across, we're going to work that up until row 20. Alright, so if you're working it along with me, you can pause here while you're working it. Or also you can add this video to, I think it's your favorites or something, or a watch later, so that you remember who you were working this up with, okay? And it's K.Bella Jolie and Crochet Basics, as in basic crochet. All right, so you can, you know, pause here and continue working, and I will be right back right when I get to row 21. Okay, and this is the right side front panel, as the pieces, you know, the front of the jacket or sweater is facing you. And I do have other Baby Alive patterns for the smaller Baby Alive, for the standard. It's the standard Baby Alive, the one that does not have the electronics in it. Okay, so now I just finished row 20, and this is the front panel. All right, so row 21, you're going to work 1 single crochet in the first 8 stitches. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. Row 22, 1 single crochet in each. So 8 stitches. You're leaving these stitches unworked. So now for row 23, 1 single crochet in the first 6 stitches for row 23. And we're going to crochet the last 2 together. So you'll go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 2, you'll go into the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, you have 3 on the hook, and you'll yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, and you'll chain 1 and turn your work. So now for row 24, we're going to repeat that. We're going to crochet the first 2 together. So TOG is the abbreviation. So you'll go in, you'll pull up a loop, you have 2, go in through the next, pull up a loop, you have 3, yarn over and pull through all 3, and then work the remaining stitches as a single crochet for row 24. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. And now for row 25, 1 single crochet in each. And then you'll pull a tail. And when I do, like when I'm making pieces that I know I'm going to sew together, I usually pull a little bit, even if I know I'm not using the tail. I usually pull a little bit more, just so that I can use the tail to like anchor it together, because I don't normally use straight pins with the yarn unless they have the big bobble head on it, or like a bright colorful head on it, because I'm always afraid I'm going to lose a pin in the crochet or the knit or whatever it is. Alright, so this is our first front panel. Okay, and then again, depending on the size of the yarn, it could come out bigger or smaller. So I did, on this one, I did give quite a bit of overlap just in case, you know, like a few extra stitches just in case, so that in case you were using thinner yarn or heavier yarn, either way, that, see how the green is? But this is the same amount of stitches, just different yarn, okay? Different brands of yarn, but same amount of stitches, either way. All right, so now we're gonna make the front panel for the left side when the jacket's facing you. Okay, so this one's a fancy one. There's a lot of things in there. So, ooh, have your buttons ready so that you can make sure they fit. Let me turn the page. Have your buttons ready so that you can make sure that they fit. beforehand because we're making the button loops on this panel. We're making the button loops. So you do slip knot and chain 14 in your eye hook. Slip knot, chain 14. And then switch back to the H. And so this is from Dress It Up. I get a lot of cute buttons from them. These are toggles. They're little owls. But Dress It Up is the name of the company. Whenever I get something cute, I like to tell you. Now I think I'm going with these little owls here because they are cute. And then in this pack, they have a few big owls, but we're not going to use that. I'm only going to use the little owls, and I like the little owls because they actually gave you different colors. So, different shades of brown. So that's why I dig on the owls. So, but we only need 4 of them for this. You can adjust for less button loops, but what I noticed is, in case you wanted to know, what I noticed is that when it doesn't have the extra buttons, it does that. So if you don't have the buttons like all the way, it does that. So that's why I went for 4 buttons spaced out. Okay, let's go. All right, so 1 row of single crochet. So you'll skip that first chain closest to the hook, and you'll work in a single crochet back, and you'll end up with 13 single crochets for row 1, and this is the button loop panel that would be on the left hand side if it was facing you. Okay, so row 1 is 1 single crochet in each, and you'll end up with 13 single crochets for this row. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're going to work in both sides of the braid. So for row 2, you're going to work a single crochet in the first 9 stitches. 1 single crochet in the first 9 stitches. So now you're going to chain 2 and skip 2 and work 1 single crochet in the last 2 stitches. So chain 2, skip 2, 1 single crochet in the last 2 stitches for row 2. And chain 1. And before you go any further, make sure your buttons fit. Alright, so all you have to do is just push it through. Oh, should I zoom in a little? Okay, so all you have to do is make sure, just push it through, see if it goes through. If it goes through nice and smooth, then you're okay to go. If it jams up, then you're not okay to go. You know, either you have to do an extra chain or you have to adjust. But, you know, depending on the size of your buttons. And you don't, you know, I don't know, maybe you don't want to go too, like I don't want to go too big with the buttons in general. But I go for the toggle because I always think it's easier for little hands, the ones with the loop. I always go for these with the Baby Alive clothing because I always think it's easier for little hands. And it's also easier when you have several layers of crochet because, you know, crochet is thick. All right, so row 3, you're going to work as long as your buttons fit, 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And then 2 single crochets around your chain space. Don't bother trying to go through it, just go right around it, not a big deal. And then 1 single crochet in the remaining 9 stitches. All right, for row 3. So you have your first button loop made, and we're moving on. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 4, 5, and 6, 1 single crochet in each stitch back and forth. If you're working it along with me, you can pause here. Okay? But for the next 3 rows, 1 single crochet in each with a chain 1 on the end, and you should have 13 stitches per row. And I'll meet you back. You can pause here, and I'll meet you back when we do row 7. Alright, so now for row 7, you're going to work 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So 1, 2, chain 2, skip 2, and then work 1 single crochet in the remaining 9 stitches for row 7. Chain 1 and turn your work. Alright, so row 8, 1 single crochet in the first 9 stitches, and then 2 single crochets around your chain 2 space, and then 1 single crochet in the last 2 stitches for row 8. Okay, so now row 9 to row 11, just 1 single crochet in each with a chain 1 at the end, and you'll end up with 13 per row, 13 single crochets. So if you want to pause it here, and I'll meet you back after row 11. So now for row 12, we're going to do another button loop. Alright, so 1 single crochet in the first 9 stitches, and then you'll chain 2, skip 2, and then work 1 single crochet in the last 2 stitches. And that's for row 12. Row 12. chain 1 and turn your work, and you'll work for row 13 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, 2 single crochets around your chain 2 space, and then 1 single crochet in the remaining 9 stitches. And you want even tension on this if I didn't mention it before. You know, whenever I make pieces, I try and make all the pieces around the same time, because sometimes my tension changes during while I'm making pieces. Alright, so that was row 13. So now 14, 15, and 16 is just 1 single crochet back and forth. 13 per row. So now for row 17, 1 single crochet in the first 2, chain 2, skip 2, and then 1 single crochet in the remaining 9 stitches. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 18, 1 single crochet in the first 9, 2 single crochets around the chain 2 space, and 1 single crochet in the last 2 stitches for row 18, right? Alright, so for row 19 we're going to drop a stitch. So you'll go into the first, you'll pull up a loop, you'll go into the next, you'll pull up a loop, you have 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Alright, so row 19 we're dropping a stitch, and that's how we're starting the row, and then you'll work 1 single crochet down for the rest, for the next 11 stitches, for all the remaining stitches, 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way down for row 19. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. So now for row 20, we're going to work 1 single crochet in the first 8 stitches. Chain 1 and turn your work. Alright, and then for row 21 we're going to work back. So 1 single crochet in each, and it's 8 stitches for row 21. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. I don't know if I said that. Chain 1 and turn your work. So now for row 22, you're going to work 1 single crochet in the first 6 stitches and single crochet the last 2 together. Alright, So the last two together. Alright, so now for row 23, did I do my chain one? Okay, so for row 23, you'll crochet the first two together. And work one single crochet in the remaining stitches. So it's row 23. Yeah, so for row 23, you'll single crochet the first two together and one single crochet in the remaining stitches. So it should be five stitches. Sorry, 5 stitches. All right, so now for row 24 and row 25, just one single crochet in each with a chain 1 and a turn work, and you should have 6 single crochets per row for row 24 and 25. And then you'll pull a tail. No chain 1 at the end of that, just pull a tail and cut off. Okay? So this is our right hand panel and our left hand panel, and they'll overlap when we sew the pieces together. And here's your button loops, okay, and the shaping is for the neck, okay, if you didn't get that. All right, so we're gonna start sewing this thing together, and well, I guess we could do the sleeves. All right, let me show you the sleeves, and then we'll start sewing it together. All right. Ow. Ow. Hit my hand on the tripod. Ouch. Okay. For the sleeves, you'll make 2 of these. All right. So you'll do a slip knot. You're going to chain 20 in your eye hook. Now I did these looser. They're way bigger than the arms, just so that it's easier to get on and off. And the way the sweater is wider because they don't have armpits, if that makes sense. Okay? So you'll switch after you chain your 20, you'll switch back to your H hook, and you'll have your piece nice and flat, and you're going to make a slip stitch into the first chain made and a chain 1. All right, and then we're going to work in the round in a circle. So you're going to pick up, it's going to be 19 single crochets. 19 single crochets. So you'll pick up one side of the braid and work single crochets. So from here, after you have your 19 stitches in, you're going to slip stitch into the first chain you made. slip stitch, chain, slip stitch, chain 1. Sorry, I don't know why I'm having a problem. Alright, slip stitch, chain 1, and then work back in a single crochet. So you'll turn your work, and you'll work back in a single crochet. So for up until row 10. So for row 10, I'll meet you back. But 1 single crochet in each with a slip stitch and a turn work. Okay? And 19 stitches per row for the sleeves, and you'll make 2 of these. And you can also forego the sleeves. You don't, you know, you can have it a sleeveless piece if you like. But I figured, you know, if you're really into the baby alives, like if you know, your kid and or whomever, you know, a little winter jacket or sweater to, you know, wrap up when they take it in the car and stuff like that, you know? Because I always used to take my dolls with me in the car, you know, for rides and stuff whenever we were going out when I was a kid. I didn't have Baby Alive, of course, you know. Those are much later. I'm old. I had Cabbage Patch Kids. So, I'm having such a problem with the sleeves today. Alright. So 19 per row with a slip stitch, a chain 1, and a turn work. And I'll meet you back for row 11 on the sleeves. So now after you finish row 10, for row 11 we're going to pick up in the front loops only. Alright, so there you go. So the loops closest to you is where we're picking up. So 1 single crochet in the front loops only. So you're going to leave the back side of the braid unworked for row 11. And then for row 12, which is our last row, 1 single crochet both sides of the braid. So 1 single crochet in each, both sides of the braid, and then you'll pull a tail and cut off. You're just going to pull a tail for weaving in. So however, you know, you weave in. So, but 1 for row 12, 1 single crochet in each. You should still have 19 stitches. You know, and you'll make 2 of these sleeves. Unless, you know, you don't want to make them. And then you can have a sleeveless sweater. And that's okay too. Because I made it, you know, the panels are longer so that it's it covers, like you can use it, you can make it like a sweater dress or, you know, a jacket if you have a boy baby alive or a girl baby alive, however you want, you know. But I made it longer so it would cover the caboose. So our baby alive doesn't get chilly. Alright, so you'll cut off. I don't need that much. And you'll make 2. And the reason we did that front loop thing is just to give it a little bit of shaping on the sleeves. The sleeves fold over. So that's where it's sewn on, and that's the base of the sleeve. All right. So you'll make another one of these, and then we'll put it all together. All right, so after all of your pieces are made, your 2 sleeves, your fronts, your backs, all your things, okay? This I put on the bottom. This was the starting chain. That goes on the bottom on the back panel, and you can line up your pieces. Okay, so we're gonna sew halfway, not all the way up when we start off. All right, because we still have to put our sleeves in. But if you, you can pin it if you like, however you do. All right, and then you would line up your pieces at the ends. All right, so now what I like to do is I like to take the tails, and use them to like anchor the piece together when I first go. So, but however you do, you'll line up the very top. You could do it from the inside. So, from the inside, and then just go around. And you'll, sew this piece across. I usually sew it twice. I usually go one way and then back the other way, just so that I know it's secured, especially if you're making this for a kid to dress and redress and all that type of thing. So it just makes more sense to, reinforce it as you go. All right, but this panel, I'm sewing the right side panel on first, the right side, facing you. So confusing. No? So the piece has to be facing you. The front of the jacket. Or sweater, whatever you want to call it. All right. So, no big deal. And that'll come down in the front. Okay, now this is going to curve. Like this panel will seem like it's longer than the back because of the way the neck is. So don't worry. It'll work out as long as you put the stitches where they're supposed to be. All right, and we can sew up the first side. Let me see. I got so many strings. On things like this, I don't tuck in the strings until after is when I start working and putting the strings away, because I don't want to weave in and hit anything and then, have to fix or reweave or whatever it is. So I don't do that. All right? And then you'll just sew, to about here, because the sleeve goes in right at the top. All right, so the sleeve goes in right at the top. But don't put the sleeve yet. Just sew up the, the sides to where you would put the sleeves. Okay? But don't put the sleeves in yet, because I'll show you how we're going to do that. And we're sewing on the, the inside. We're sewing the pieces together on the inside. So if you haven't, please subscribe. Give a like, a thumbs up if you make it and you like it and stuff like that. And I do have other patterns. I have a ballerina outfit. I have a swimsuit, a hat, a sun hat. I have a few dresses up there, a romper. I am working on making stuff for the electronic Baby Alive also, if you have one of those. Okay? So for the electronic Baby Alive, I have booties, I have a diaper, and a dress. But I am going to size this to make it fit that also, so that, your electronic Baby Alive is not chilly come this winter. And then links below also for Crafty Conjuring. She does sewing projects and for the Baby Alives, and she shows you also how to make like a wardrobe for all their clothes and stuff that you make out of a box. She makes it out of a box, and she shows you how to do it with the elastic and all stuff, and a little sleep mask and all type of thing. So check her out too, Crafty Conjuring. Alright, so that's about where I'm going to leave it right now on this side. Okay? So but you're not going to sew it, you know, like I'll show you how we're going to stick it on the inside and sew it, and then when it folds back out, it's the seams on the inside and the outside is out. Alright, so you'll do the same thing for the other side that we just did. Sewing on the outside. What? Sewing the pieces on the opposite side, rather. Alright, so you'll line up your pieces and you'll do the other side too. So now just to show you, after your piece is sewn along the edge and the outside is facing in, you'll put your sleeve right side out into there. This goes underneath your tails, goes to the bottom of the arm. Alright, you'll sandwich that in there. This would already be sewn. That would already be sewn. Alright, but you'll sandwich that in there, and then you'll just go all the way around until it's fully attached. So with the sleeve, you know, open. So you're sewing the sleeve in place, if that makes sense. I hope it does. or we've both just wasted some time. Okay? So you'll sew this all the way around. And when this is still open, but I just wanted to show you. So when this is closed like that and you do the sleeve, you'll see, you know, you'll be able to put a few more stitches if you didn't sew all the way up, and just seal up where that's the way the sleeve is attached. So hopefully this all makes sense. But I liked making this. The front panel for the buttons was a little hard because, you know, I had to make it a few times to make the buttons and have it lay flat and all type of thing, you know. But all in all, it's, you know, it's not, I don't think it's too hard of a project. I think, you know, not necessarily like super duper beginner, but, you know, it is single crochet. The whole thing is single crochet, so that's easy enough. And I show you how to do the dropping the stitches and stuff, you know. So you'll continue sewing this all the way around. You'll seam up, your side should already be seamed up, and the tops, the shoulders should already be attached. So for finishing touches, you'll just have to weave in the ends, you know, sew your buttons in place and weave in the ends. Alright, but you don't want to make anything, you know, like you don't want your seams to be all cinched or any kind of thing. Just smooth seams as far as it goes. Okay, and now I'm just switching over to the other side, the other part of the outer sleeve. And then the sleeve is there. So what you can do, all right, once this is all sewn up, and you're good. But what you can do, and this is basically what it looks like. All right, you'll see in the beginning pictures and the pictures at the end what it actually looks like, you know, without this, because this was the first one that I did when I realized that I definitely needed a bottom button. But what you can do for your buttons to make it easier, okay, lay the piece flat. Lay the piece nice and flat with the overlap. And when you go to sew your buttons, you can put a pin, like your needle and thread, your regular needle. This is a darning needle. All right, and that's, line it up nice and flat, ready to go. You'll put this in, and you can just pull that off, and then this is where you're going to sew your button. All right, so that's how you would do that. So just a little trick that I've been doing, but make sure that the piece is like completely laid flat and everything is lined up. Okay, and then you just put your regular needle with your thread straight through, and then that's where you're gonna sew your buttons on. Okay, and with the buttons, just make sure if you're giving this to a kid to, you know, dress and redress and all type of thing, make sure you do a nice reinforced. You know, you can always if you don't know, you can actually sew buttons on with dental floss, unwaxed dental floss. It's super duper strong, in case you don't know that. Dental floss is super duper strong, unwaxed, not flavored, just unwaxed. Dental floss will really reinforce the buttons. All right, so if you make it, I hope you like making it. Questions, comments below. I hope I went slow enough for you. I mean, most of it is just working back and forth, and then I show you, you know, where we're increasing and where we're doing, you know, the button loops and stuff like that, and how we're sewing on, you know. So just sewing on, and then when you flip it, boom, your outside of your sleeve is already there. So finishing touches is weaving in your ends, snipping off, and then sewing your buttons, and then you're good to go. And I do have a hat that's going to go with this. This is for this the small baby alives. All right, but I do have a hat that I'm going to do a video for, because the small baby alives, I mean, the boy ones have flat hair, so you can just make a regular hat, but the chickies all have a bun or two buns or whatever. So they can't really just wear a flat hat, you know, especially like wintertime. They, you know, like I wanted to make this hooded, and then I said, you know, I can't make it hooded because of the buns. But if you do have a baby, electronic baby alive, I am going to have this for that size with a hood, okay, with a hood. And I will have a hat to match the jacket in the next, I think in the next few days, I should be able to post it. All right, but check me out. Links below. I have finished product on, I have more advanced patterns on Etsy's and finished products on my other Etsy's. And thank you so much for watching. If you make it, I hope, you know, it comes out good for you. Please let me know. Check out my other links for other Baby Alive videos and patterns and stuff. And I think that's it for this one. So K.Jolie Crochet Basics, Baby Alive jacket, sweater jacket. As always, happy hooking, because it keeps you off the streets and keeps your baby alive dressed and warm and cozy. And I will be back real soon with my next tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Have a super great day. Ciao. Bye.